I'm grateful that the media fraternity have turned up in full force. We have real media people like Megatech, Irene. Then we have fake media people like Obol Simple Man. Yeah, everything has a duplicate in life. You know, you have white ants, then you have the one they call a minyaminy. You have cassava, then you have lamwaka. You have malakwang, then you have the one we call guanya. Everything has its fake version in life. I'm really pleased to see all of you. There are many of you that I had not seen in a long, long, long time, like Tony Onena here, who is a veteran journalist, a real one. I hadn't seen. They are younger generation of the media, who I really appreciate for telling our stories. Life is about stories, and they actually love telling stories. And every story is interesting because it is unique. So all of you here, if you are to start telling us your stories, we would really be interested because it is unique. Nobody has that kind of story. But 22nd is about my story. On radio, Mega, which happily hosted us through the efforts of the leadership there and linked to another radio station, I talked a little bit about why the homecoming. People wanted this to be last year around September. But I told them that let me first feel what it is like to be inside the government. You know, I've been outside the government for so long. Actually, I've never been in government, except when I was LC5 chairman. But now, the other government of Uganda, I've never been inside it. In our Choli tradition, when you bring a new he-goat into the compound, it is supposed to move around the compound so that its smell can be felt in every corner of the compound, so that all the other goats can start wondering, this one really has a serious smell. We wonder where it came from. So I requested that I should be allowed first to settle down in office and set priorities. Now, priorities are important because you can't do everything in life. There are many things to be done, but you must choose what you want to do. And by choosing what you want to do, then you also choose what you don't want to do. And that is what God gave us the power to do. Even Jesus could have become a farmer because farming was also there. He could have become a businessman. He could have even decided to become a great professor. But he just chose one thing, that I'm going to reconnect God with his people by dying on the cross. Only one thing. And that's why when he died, he said, it is finished. So what was finished? What was finished was his mission. There were still sick people. There were still hungry people. There were still poor people. And Jesus was saying it is finished. So you must know your mission. Now, my mission is simple. The unity and reconciliation of Uganda. That is really my only mission. I believe that God creates all human beings to do something unique. All of you who are here, there is something God has created you to do, and it is only you who can do it. If you try to do anything else, actually you are wasting your time and wasting other people's time. So it is better you focus on what you believe is your true mission. And that's why sometimes you wonder why I don't respond to the hecklers. those who are criticizing and so on, because it is not necessary. You must focus on what is important. People have been asking me to come and explain why I led my party to cooperate with the NRM. So the opportunity will be the 22nd. But the agreement was signed by 2 people. So I only explained 50%. The other 50% has to be explained by the NRM. Yeah, because it is for 2 sides. How can I explain? Even the Bible has Old Testament and New Testament. And you cannot say you have read the Bible if you only read the Old Testament and you leave out the New Testament, and then you read only the New Testament. I have endeavored to explain my bit. When the Democratic Party came out of 2021 elections, we called the National Executive Committee together with our elected members of parliament. And we decided to set 3 strategic goals. The first is to win power as the Democratic Party. The second was to lead the opposition and be the main challenger to whichever party is in power. And number 3, to share power substantially with whoever is in power. The word substantially is important. Substantially means it's not about positions in government. It is about setting the agenda. I'm only one minister from DP in the government, but I believe everybody would agree that we have started a new conversation in Uganda. Now, don't ask me whether we shall succeed or whether we shall fail. That does not bother me. Even when we set off from Kampala today, I didn't know we would arrive, but that wasn't my concern. The most important thing is that we were in a car and it was moving. And moving in the right direction, because moving is not enough. You must also be moving in the right direction. Now, there are many people who want power, but they are moving away from where power is. So I do not know how they will get it, but maybe they have another way. So, after receiving that decision of the leadership of DP, I then had the opportunity to start a 1-year conversation with President Museveni. You know, patience is important. If it was just about the job of a minister, it would be very simple. I'm offering you a ministerial position. Thank you, sir. Come and swear in. 1 day, 2 days, that would be finished. But that's not what it was. We started conversing in June 2021. And we did not conclude until 20th of July 2022. And there were only 2 of us talking. Nobody was a go-between. So don't let anybody come and deceive you that I was a go-between between NRM. Of course, there are many who encouraged me. There are those who encouraged me. There are those who, Mr. Dochia, whenever I would meet him, he would say, I really wish you were moving with us. Most of them, I would meet them. Most of the big NRMs, the ministers, even those who fought in the bush. But I told them that it is not about me. It is about the agenda and it is about Uganda. So that's what we were talking about. But Ugandans have a lot of imagination, and Benaisa the former president, once said that Kampala is a city of 7 hills and 7 rumors a day. So even in this Acholi of ours, every day there are new rumors. Our people asked us to come home. We call it a homecoming, not because I've never been home. Even now I'm home. But it is the formality of coming home. I have seen married women being escorted to their husband's home, even when they have children. You know, after the formal marriage and payment of dowry, then the aunties and the other relatives then escort her to her husband's home. She may even be pregnant, but they say, we are taking you to your home, as if she has never been there, yet she knows every corner of the home. So the homecoming is also like that. It is a formality. We have our elders who have insisted that they need to give me blessings. But above all, on that day, we shall be having also many visitors from outside our blessed Acholi land. Members of Parliament, led by the Speaker herself. We shall have many members of the cabinet. We shall have many leaders from all over Uganda, but the majority will be those from the area we know as the Greater North. The Greater North, we include West Nile, Teso, Karamoja, Lao, and Acholi. That is the part of Uganda that has faced the biggest problems. It is the poorest part of Uganda. And Mr. Odoch should hear this. For us, we don't read the NRM manifesto. Our manifesto is the Juba Peace Agreement. That is our manifesto. Because that's the agreement between us who have suffered for so long and the government. It is our contract. Just like Christians hold the cross, because it is that cross which is the contract between human beings and God. There's nothing else. So for us, we look at the Juba Peace Agreement, and it has everything. Whether you are talking about land, it is there. Whether you are talking about environment, it is there. Whether you are talking about reconciliation, it is there. Whether you are talking about cattle compensation, it is there. And on that day, we are going to distribute that manifesto again to all the leaders, because many people have forgotten where we are from. This is an issue of the people. It is not an issue of NRM, it is not an issue of DP, it is an issue, even everybody who is in any political position should go with that, because it is like a check signed by President Museveni. See, if I give you my check, you put it in your pocket, and even if you find me anywhere, if the check has bounced, you have to shame me in front of the fellow members of the club, whether we are at Mukungu Charo, whether we are at a pork joint. You say, but Mao, honestly, the whole of you gave me a check knowing that there was no money in your account. Now, that is what politics is about. So, we have a choice, because there are many people dividing the people, knowing fully well that when people are divided, they cannot achieve anything. Now, you don't unite because you love one another socially. You unite because you have a cause. So, we have a choice, either to unite so that we have the ability to bargain with the rest of Uganda, particularly the government. If we are divided, we shall forever have to beg. In politics, there are two things: begging and bargaining. So where will we be? Which one do we want to choose? Do we want to beg or do we want to bargain? I believe we should bargain. And you can only bargain when you show capacity. if you have my money and I come to collect it alone in your compound, and I say, please, you have stayed with my money for long. When are you paying? You say, things are bad. You go away. I'll think about it. You'll come back another time. But if I arrive with all my bodyguards the way you have seen them, and I sit down and I say, excuse me, sir, kindly, please, pay me my money. You would listen to me, but also look at my bodyguards and say, what is he going to do if I don't give him his money? Now, that's what they call bargaining. So anybody who is dividing our people is an enemy of the people. And it doesn't matter how they divide the people, because nowadays there are many ways of dividing the people. You can start negative propaganda. You can start attacking individuals. Fortunately, everybody has a record, and the record is in the public. Unless if you are born yesterday. If you are born yesterday, then you have no record. But if you are someone we have been seeing around, we can also open your book and tell the people who you are. But that time hasn't come. Because for me, I believe that if I'm at the stream bathing, then a madman comes and picks my clothes and runs away with the clothes, I don't need to chase the madman, because people will think I'm the one who is mad. At least the madman will have some torn clothes as he runs. Now me, I'll be stuck naked. People will say, look at Mao. I think his wires have connected. Others have asked, why have we put the theme, it's time? Somebody even called me and told me, you know, the government may not like that theme. It's time for what? Then I said, which government? I sit there in that government. Nobody has shown any concern. It's time to reconcile. It's time to forgive one another. It's time to unite. But it is also time to assert ourselves that this is our country. We are not second-class citizens. It's time for all that. And that doesn't mean we are fighting anybody. My people, they actually are very interesting. In 1990, when I wanted to contest for Guild President of Makerere, they called me for a meeting and told me, our son Mao, we have suffered so much, don't increase our pain. Your parents have struggled. You are from a humble, poor background. Please study, get your degree, and go and get a job. Don't cause us headache again. You see what the Titos and Basilios did? They went and got hold of the government. When they were overthrown, they ran away. Those who chased them followed them and destroyed our home. Don't do the same. Don't be like the bull that provokes fights. In our language called La Tuenke Remo. Always goring others with its horns. And the horns are bloody. They told me not to contest. But more importantly, they told me that I have no chance of winning because they actually are few. But I told them, but I'm not going to campaign only among the Acholi. Baganda will vote for me, Banyankole will vote for me. When I won, then they were the first to say, yes, 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 you know, we are still around. You know, we the Acholi, we are still around. Football. Again, when I wanted to be president of DP, they told me, that party can never elect a non-Muganda. They said, you are not even from a Catholic family. You know, my family, the base is Anglican. I'm the one who got baptized as a Catholic because of education and a few of our people. Some of you who came to bury my father, you must have found 2 Protestant bishops to pray for my father. So they said, you can't win, you cannot. But I told them, Sebana Kizito is a Protestant, he's indeed the president of DP. Said, now yours is worse because you are not even a Muganda. Now, after I won, they said, oh, now DP is really a national party. Now it can vote somebody who is from outside Uganda. I have done everything I can, and I will never repay my people. I owe them too much. We hear people talking, others even claiming I'm not an Acholi. Unfortunately, both my parents are dead, so I don't know this DNA thing, whether we should go into it. But everybody who knows my father can testify that I'm his son. But that is how low our politics has sunk. Unfortunately, you find young people with earphones in the village listening to nonsense. You listen to nonsense, you don't have food in your house. You don't have school fees for your children. You can't even buy clothes for your wife. And you are just there. So, what does it add to your life? So, me, I like to do things which are sensible also. My problem is not another person. Actually, my problem is not anybody here. My problem cannot be Odochi. My problem is how my neighbors can have seeds. Now it is planting season. My neighbors come to me. The other day I even built a 2-kilometer road as if I'm the local government for the people. I begged the Gulu district to give me machines, but I had to look for the fuel to open a road so that ambulances that the MPs are buying can have a road to pass on. Because you can buy ambulance, but it is not just for the town. Can it go to the villages? So we must address real problems rather than fake problems. People's tribes and what, those are not real problems because nobody chooses. Nobody. Did you fill an application form to be an Acholi? You didn't. So we are opening a new chapter from 22nd. And anyway, I love a good fight. You all know me. And I think I've been provoked enough. So there's going to be some serious fighting for the future. I'm not fighting for myself. I'm now fighting for our children. That fight must be, and the children of Uganda, we must now fight for the future of Uganda. Others are still obsessed with President Museveni. But what if he doesn't wake up tomorrow? So will your problems have ended? Yeah. Sometimes people go to bed and in the morning they don't wake up. So will your problems have ended? Will you now have tuition? Will you now have school fees? Will some deposit appear on your bank account mysteriously? The sun will still rise from the east and set in the west, no matter what you do. So, there is a Uganda beyond President Museveni. But President Museveni must be part of designing that Uganda. Now, in Uganda today, there are 2 types of politicians. There are those who say President Museveni is irrelevant. The only thing that we should do is just to remove him. That's what some people say. We call them regime change fundamentalists. And their ideology is regime change fundamentalism. That is the group that said Mugabe is the problem of Zimbabwe. Gabo Cherokee, Zimbabweans are still there. Even the army deceived them. You know, the army came, the people came on the streets. For the first time, they were climbing on tanks, APC, they were posing, not knowing that, you know, before I follow you, I must know where you are going. To follow somebody like that. So when the army reached State House, that was the end. They now turned the guns on them. They swore themselves in. The other president, who is called the Crocodile, is now the president. General Chiwenga, who forced Mugabe to sign resignation, is now the vice president. They ended up, by the way, when you wear a shoe, the shoe is not the one traveling. You are the one traveling. So when you reach where you're going, you leave the shoe outside and enter because you have arrived. The shoe has arrived, but it is not your companion. It is just a tool. So, in my life, I don't mind people deceiving me. And I've been deceived many times. And many times people have tried to deceive me. But I'll never deceive myself. So a shoe must not deceive itself that it is also going anywhere. The shoe cannot be going anywhere. The shoe is just for walking on. Like that donkey that took Jesus. Was it the donkey that was going to deliver us? Just a means of transport. In fact, when the donkey went back alone, it wasn't welcomed even. Because when Jesus arrived, people threw their clothes on the ground. They were waving palm branches, leaves. The donkey went back alone and asked, what has happened? I'm not seeing the welcome. It forgot that it was just a means of transport. So, from 22nd, we must reposition the Greater North in the politics of Uganda. And it is not about me. And the NRM will be our partner. A serious partner. Not giving leftovers, not telling lies. Because, first and foremost, it is the NRM politics which made Uganda to think we are bad people. Our people are not bad people. The bad people are individuals. They must be named. You cannot say, Acholi are killers. Was Janani Luwum a killer? Was Professor Odonga a killer? Was Dr. Lukuya a killer? Was Engineer Drale a killer? If there's any killer, they must be named. We cannot say there is a tribe which is full of good people. There are good people and bad people in every tribe. So, repositioning means you choose what you are good at. In the Olympics, the Chinese don't play basketball. They go for gymnastics. You can't beat them. The Americans play basketball. They are very poor in football. Sometimes you hear America being beaten 9-0. How can you, a superpower, be beaten? Because that's not your game. So we must choose where we are strong. That's what you call positioning yourself. For instance, there's nobody who can talk about Sim Sim in Uganda except the Acholi. But can we talk about Matoke? We are not Matoke people. So, positioning yourself means you must decide where you are strong. We have intelligent, honest people. God has given us a lot of fertile land. Acholi land is the size of the Republic of Rwanda. The whole of Rwanda is the size of Acholi land. But what are we doing? We are not talking about how to use the land strategically. Instead, we waste our time as for the politician. So and so is fighting me. So and so wants my constituency. I'm told I'm also being dragged in the constituency politics. I had a constituency and I left it. When I wanted it back, Electoral Commission chased me away. So I left. Now I'm permanently pursuing the executive branch only. That's now my branch. I've chosen my branch. Now my branch is the executive branch. Not the judiciary, not the legislature or parliament. But when I came here, the story was that Mao is looking for a parliamentary seat. I cannot look for a parliamentary seat. It is a parliamentary seat that can look for me. So is there a parliamentary seat looking for me? Let them tell me whether there's a parliamentary seat looking for me. Because me, I'm not looking for a parliamentary seat. Take constituency, Mao matika yinyo Mao. Mao petika yinyo constituency. Then they go to spread insecurity to very high-ranking people, telling them after he has got the constituency, then he's coming for you. Actually, these people talking nonsense have really made me to appear so powerful. You really think that this Mao almost can turn a man into a woman, and vice versa. Because the way they talk about me, you can really think that this Mao has so much power he can. I don't mind. In life, there are two types of people: builders and blockers. There are those who build, then there are those who block. On the 22nd, we will do roll call, and we shall line up the builders. We shall also name those who are blocking the future. In the book of Nehemiah, those of you who read, you know Tobiah. Tobiah and his other friend, they were blocking Nehemiah, here known as Nehemiah. Nehemiah wanted to defend Jerusalem because this is our Jerusalem. We want to build a wall and defend it. But Tobiah says, who is this Nehemiah? What can he do? In fact, they came to fight him so that he does not build a wall. So, they were building with one hand, while one hand is holding a spear. So, if need be, that's what we are going to do. We shall build while defending the wall at the same time. So, on that day, I believe builders will be the majority. Blockers will also be there, but they will discover that they have no future. Because what matters is not what you feel and experience at the present. What matters is how it ends. There are those who thought Jesus had lost because he had been crucified. But actually, it is the Roman Empire which lost. Where is it now? It is not there. It collapsed. But that mission of Jesus has achieved a lot. So, on 22nd, we shall refocus our energies to free our people from poverty. Because now in Uganda, For every problem, there's only one answer. It is called IMF. IMF means it's Museveni's fault. Yeah, everything in Uganda, IMF. So if you have no school fees, IMF. If you don't weed your garden and the weeds overtake the crops, it's Museveni's fault. Champo chair, bilokabero. But you spend the whole night drinking, you wake up at midday, but the weeds don't sleep. It's Museveni's fault. You beat up your wife, it's Museveni's fault. You fail to distribute parish model money, it's Museveni's fault. Land board is giving away people's lands. Is that Museveni's fault? It is the local government which appoints the land board. District Service Commission is collecting bribes before they give you a job. It's Museveni's fault. Really? So let's stop this IMF. Maybe tomorrow IMF will now be it's Mao's fault. So this press conference is to let you know that we are getting enormous support from friends. There are those who think that the government is the one funding this. This is not a government function, but people who are in government are contributing as individuals. I heard some other lunatic saying that President Museveni and the government has given Mao 1.2 billion. If the whole of Namugongo was given 1 billion to celebrate Martyrs' Day, and in any case, is this the first time I've ever celebrated in Kaunda ground? I was never a minister. But I heard some madman recording. Why are people so idle? We all have 24 hours. Now I'm living in their brain without paying rent. Wherever they go, I'm inside their brain. They wake up Mao the whole day. They go to bed, they dream Mao. So they get their phone and start recording. Look, I take it one. What voice is that? I really can't believe it. 1.2 billion. When even celebrating Women's Day, you ask the women here, the women councils. Ministers are begging to have celebrations carried out. World Environment Day, what? People are contributing generously because they believe in what we are starting. So this has nothing to do with me. All through my life, I declare a war, but people don't fight for me. They fight for the cause. When I came here to be an MP with 60,000 shillings, that is all the money I had. It was like a madman. But women who sell fish, they sell potatoes, they were collecting their money. Some of the businessmen, their businesses even collapsed because of supporting Mao. Why? They said, we want our voice heard in that parliament. And I did not let them down. When I went there, I said the following: talk to the LRA. Have amnesty. Open an embassy in Sudan. Return multipartyism. Close the IDP camps. 5 things. On multipartyism, some people disagreed with me. I was the most booed member of parliament in that parliament. You people don't know what it is like to be booed. I would stand up to talk in parliament, and you just hear, Coin collaborator, rebel, shut up, sit down, what? I can't believe it. But God is faithful. Everything parliament said no to, everything the government said no to, the same government has done it. That means when you are right, keep going. Because we could have given up, but we were deaf, we were not listening to the boos. We were listening to the cries of our people. We were seeing the suffering in the IDP camps. That's the picture we had in our mind. So these people who are talking nonsense, where is their heart? Tell them if they have a problem with me, let them come and sort it out with me without involving the Acholi people. That's the only way. Because how can you talk for months and months and months about one person? Don't they know where I live? Let them come to my compound and say, Mao, this is the problem we have with you. Today we must solve it. But you are involving everybody else in your personal fight. But they will get their answer on the 22nd. Because on the 22nd, we are launching the New Testament. The Old Testament, where God made promises, will be closed. Then it transitions into the New Testament, where there will now be fulfillment. And the future of northern Uganda is bright, because all the people who are blockers will not reach the promised land. So don't worry about them. They are not going to reach. There are only a few who will reach. Even in the Bible, those who were making golden calves, they never reached. Because they are now those who are making golden calves. Actually, come and worship this one. Actually, come and... We must continue on the correct path of lifting up our people so that we can walk with our heads high in this community. There is absolutely no fear. The future is bright. So make sure to the young people, please stay alive. Because that future is going to be so good you don't want to miss it. Don't drink yourself to death. Don't do things which will shorten your life. Make sure you are alive on that day. Don't get too annoyed that you destroy yourself. Because the promised land is there. We have many problems. Now I'm inside the government. I can tell my people exactly what is going right and what is going wrong without fear. Because part of the content of the agreement we signed is what they call agreeing to disagree. So far, I've not found anything to disagree with since I've been in cabinet. Otherwise, I would have said I disagree with this one. If ever there's anything I need to disagree with, I will state it. Others thought I have gone into government to be opposition inside government. I went into government to see what I can do to make sure government changes for the better. There are three types of people in politics. There are those who are like potatoes. When you put them in hot water, they just become soft. I think you know them. There are those who are like eggs. They just become hard and they are annoyed with everybody. They start even running away from their shadows. But there are those who are like coffee beans. Wherever they go, they change the color of the water. That's what I want to be. I still believe that Uganda can move forward, that Uganda can actually have peaceful change. So for us, we believe in constructive engagement. That's why I'm here with people like Mr. Dodge, who during campaigns does not sleep trying to defeat everybody who is not NRM. Odoj can even abandon his wife and family to chase anybody who is not NRM. So, the regime change fundamentalists have caused problems for Africa. They went and removed Gaddafi. See how Libya is. They removed Gaddafi, but the Libyans are suffering so much. But God is fair. The most popular man now in Libya is Gaddafi's son. Can you imagine? Philippines, the president currently is the son of the former dictator, Ferdinando Marcos. The Filipinos tried everybody. This opposition party comes, they run after it. Oh, our man, our man. He is sworn in as president. Disaster. Ever since Marcos left in '86, the other year, they brought back his son now. And he's even called Ferdinand Marcos Jr. So those of us who see far must tell the people the truth. We are not going to be like Udu, the ostriches. Because the ostrich puts its head in the soil, because it is not seeing you, it thinks you are also not seeing it. They did it in Egypt. They removed Mubarak. Now they have a proper field marshal now, no nonsense. So I think maybe Ugandans will get what they want. Because at this rate, you talk to Ugandans, they don't want to listen. What else can we do? You know, every leader has a role in the life of a country, whether a good one or a bad one. In the Bible, there's a Nebuchadnezzar, Balthazar. All those had their roles. There are bad leaders who come to help you to appreciate good leaders. Because sometimes you don't appreciate a good leader. Now a proper bad one who is not apologetic comes and teaches you to say, ha, 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 tuara, tuara. But I am praying that God will unite our hearts. Speaking now of Acholi, let us be one mind in many bodies. That's what unity is about. And that mind is to love one another, to appreciate one another. You have never heard me criticize our elected leaders. Megatech is there. Is there any recording of my voice attacking any MP or any elected leader, councillor or what? I call them and tell them what I think. And I warn them that is after failing now, that's when you'll hear me on radio. So why do people attack me? But those who attack me, ungeni doga tieba. Bedo beat mo karkare. Ka wara sample moma di tidi iromo dene. That's why now I've stopped. Because I've now matured. This business of throwing flames now, I don't want it. But I can also be provoked. You know, Even Jesus went and chased people from the synagogue. Yet he was saying, be non-violent. I want to end by assuring all those who we have invited that we shall have prayers, because we must thank God. As you know, I've been to intensive care twice in 1 year. Even my death was announced. On that day, the Chief Justice will also be here. His death was also announced, as you heard. I keep getting calls. Tell us the truth. Is the Chief Justice alive? Yeah. And I say, okay, if you have that information, what will it help your life? You know, you, the way I know you. What? The life of the Chief Justice is so important to you that you even buy MBs rather than buying salt for your home, so that you can participate in the debate. Chief Justice is very well alive. He got the medical attention he needed in the hands of very good doctors. We have been pleading with him to go because he did not complete some medical processes. He was being stubborn, but we are very happy that he finally went. So he's coming back. I believe this week he's coming back. And on that day, he will be there. We will be happy to see the night dancers also coming to see him. But the most important thing is prayer. I went to intensive care twice in 1 year. Not many people go to intensive care twice in 1 year and survive. So ever since that time, I realized that there's a purpose to my life. They say there are two important days in your life: the day you are born and the day you discover why you were born. Okay, everybody celebrates their birthday, but do you celebrate knowing why you were born? So some of us now, I'm now 56 years old. I was here for Parliament when I was 28. I was here for CA when I was 25. I've been in this thing for so long. That's why now the youth, when they are talking, these youth like Moses there, I saw him somewhere here. When they are saying the old people should leave, they should retire, then they start. Yoweri Museveni, Kiza Besigye, Amama Mbabazi, Mugisha Muntu, Norbert Mao. I'm also lumped now together with all of them. Because they have been reading about me for over 30 years. They now think I'm really old. But I'm just 56. Of course, to Moses, 56 really looks old. So we shall be having prayers. There will be the band to entertain people. There will also be musicians. The organizing committee told us not to overcrowd the event with the imported musicians, and we have accepted. Of course, this is a Ugandan function, so we must bring people from around Uganda. But the majority will be our people who gave us hope when we were suffering. Because these are the people who spoke the things we could not. There are some things you cannot speak, you must just sing them. When now you reach the limit of a speech, then you just sing. Either you are extremely afraid. Those of you who know our actual stories, there's always that point where somebody is in a dilemma, something bad is likely to happen, then you hear, chucha we ai la lobo we ringwe koro chwe ai mai lua tong jo chu tiana. Some of you remember that. The young people don't know. Ni mai lua tong jo chu tiana. Do you know tong jo? So the majority of the musicians will be our people, who will remind us of where we are from. But we shall also have some of the musicians, you know, the Kampala-based musicians. We can't afford very many of them because many of them have made their price so high. And you can't even negotiate. We shall, of course, eat a lot of food because it is a celebration. And all the cows, the bulls, have been donated. You know, I have never known that actually people are very supportive. So far, we have 25 bulls. Now, imagine, and we are going to get more. Others are donating the bulls not to be eaten from here. Others are saying, my bull must be slaughtered in Soroti, and people must celebrate. So people will be recording their celebrations and posting it. And why are they posting it? Because here is a Norbert Mao who wants to unite people so that we have the ability to bargain with the rest of Uganda. When you look at the budget, where is the money going? It's going in dairy products. Do we have dairy here? It's going into coffee. Do we have coffee? It's going into tea. Do we have tea? It's going into cocoa. Do we have cocoa? Now, that is the politics that we want. That's the New Testament we are talking about. We are now struggling with macadamia. We will talk about the cattle compensation. Lawyers who have been representing the cattle claimants have been receiving more money than the people who lost the cows. That's one of my battles in the ministry as a minister. So I say, why do you pay the lawyers first? Billions. That is a fight. And me, I will tell it the way it is. Now we have a new plan. We want the government to now, in the new law, which is called Transitional Justice Bill, to put in a body known as the War Victims Compensation Fund, so that that money can be specifically for war victims, not only in Acholi, but in Teso, Lango, West Nile, even Luero. You see, in Luero, at least here we shout. Now, Luero, they don't make noise because they believe that, you know, they are NRM, they must not shout because that's their government. So now they suffer quietly. Even when some other part of their body is itching, they now have to scratch their head. How do you scratch your head? Mano, ngayo kakamoni tika hili. Ento ere dengwinyo ne piani koni nenra jikindano. Chidengwinyo wime goba goba. But the thing doesn't go away. There's nothing wrong with scratching where you are itching. So, to a certain extent, Acholi and the rest of northern Uganda have that advantage. Just because we still have wrong politics, every criticism is seen as opposition. Actually, not every criticism is opposition. I'm the most criticized party leader in Uganda. Is there any party leader who is attacked more than the DP president? Everybody records something. If you go to some of the WhatsApp group, people even ask why I haven't lost weight. NUSAF 4 finally was approved. Mr. Odoch, your people, your NRM caucus did a good job. I must thank them. They went to Chankwanze, they united this time, those from the NUSAF areas. But of course, NUSAF has been spread so far now, it is up to Kakumiro. But it doesn't matter. The question is now, let it be like a hospital. You know, you have the intensive care, which is here. Then you have the outpatient, those who you see them even smoking. But they are there, being a doctor. Komane penia, awinyu la kiremoni, but they are there smoking, they have good appetite, they even laugh, they give high five, but they are all in the hospital. So, okay, let us accept that all of us need NUSAF money. From, it is West Nile, Lango, Acholi, Karamoja, Teso, there's even Bugisu, there's Busoga, there is Bunyoro. Now those are what? NUSAF area. But it is now going to be like hospital. So for us, intensive care, we need the best doctors, we need the most expensive medicine, and we need even a special diet. Because we are badly off. Because we don't want to start quarreling with other patients. Everybody is a patient. And there are those who looked for their own diseases also. They went and collected it, and now they are coming to the hospital. So that's another good thing that has happened. There is a budget for cattle compensation. We are insisting that this financial year, the money should be increased to 200 billion. That's what we have agreed with Parliament. So we must campaign for it. Politics is about campaigning. You know, a door, that hinge, it is the door which makes noise that gets the grease. If it doesn't make noise, make it on here more. Miro beta kocha, do you know what makari miro lui? Yinyo mo wang it on here. That is good politics. So, to the NRM, we say, not every criticism is opposition. It is just criticism so that something is done better. It is very important. So, NUSAF is starting. We need strong watchdogs, counselors. I'm giving a gift on that day. I'll be launching a campaign to build a leadership institute. I have been struggling to pay for the land. We now have about 15 acres in Pabuo. We are going to build that institute so that we train leaders. I no longer want to hear this thing of telogake kumaugi. How can you say telogake kumaugi? Every time is different. You need new types of leaders. They don't have to be like us. We must build the leaders for tomorrow, because by the time you graduate from Gulu University, your knowledge is already irrelevant. So you must have you must learn how to learn. The second gift we are giving is so many seedlings. We are going to be distributing hundreds of thousands of seedlings from roofings. We have talked with roofings. So we are going to ask everybody to plant trees. We can fight the charcoal burners, we can stop the lorries, but we must also plant trees. The two go hand in hand. We are going to help the sub-county governments. We are going to draft bylaws. I've talked with the Attorney General. We are going to draft bylaws, tough bylaws, for every sub-county that is affected and under the presidential executive order. So, sub-counties will now be able to impose fines and collect money. I am not a believer in imprisoning people, because when you imprison people, you feed them. For some people, actually, they feel happy that you are taking care of them. They can neglect their wife, they can neglect their children. No, But you stay home, pay a fine. And community service. We have many primary schools that need pit latrines. You know, you need labor for digging them. The government is going to also build seed schools in the sub-counties that don't have seed schools. So we want to know. Yesterday I spoke to the Minister for Higher Education, Honorable Chrysostom Muyingo. The World Bank is threatening to take away money because the local governments are not availing the sites for building the government seed schools. So we in Acholi should be vigilant and quickly get schools, because the only way we can compete with the rest of Uganda is through education and quality education. We expect our MPs to join us. I met some of them. I'm going to meet them again, and they are very supportive. We believe that under the leadership of our co-chairman, who I have known for a very long time. You know, Otim Joffrey, when he was a young man, was working in my office, my parliamentary office. Now, when you are a big man and you are working with people, don't see them the way they are. See their potential. We have leaders who, once you are their assistant, you must stay their assistant forever. But we must allow people to grow. Tomorrow, a team can even overtake me. That's important in life. So from being my assistant, he came to the municipal council, became mayor of division. We wanted him to be mayor of Gulu Municipal Council, but because of this politics of hitting one another without a purpose, they voted for somebody else who created a mess. But that was also good. I said that bad leaders come to teach people a lesson. So Gulu Municipality also got its lesson that time. So now he's the mayor of the Laro Peje. I'm very grateful to him. Odoch has been all over. Odoch is a field man. He's a man. You see even the way he's dressed. The day I see Odoch wearing a tie, I bet me you trying to do more. Honestly, can you produce a picture of Odoch wearing a suit and a tie? Penonge. Eh? Very well to walk. He's a man of the field. He doesn't like meetings. I'm sure now he's so bored. One day, even the chairman of his party, the president, was around. We were having an event. Odoch sat there. They were presenting. I could see Odoch. He would stand up and go to his people. He was very bored. So that is him. So everybody in the committee has their special purpose. There are those who are disciplined, like Megatech. There are those who are chaotic, like Simple Man. There are those who are very structured, like a team. They like, you know, these rules following. Then there are those like Odoch who want to move things. They are more interested in the objective than probably the balochawa, but down on the procedure and the team. So, me, I know the people we are working with, and all of them, they add value. They are very, very important. So, the occasion will be a big success. There will be dancing, and generally a celebration. Afterwards, we shall go to other districts. The one of Gulu is just a beginning. Then we shall go to the rest of Uganda. Because this message must reach the rest of Uganda. the rest of Uganda has been fearing us. You know, once you have hurt somebody, you think that they have a bad intention. But we must assure the Uganda government that for us in Acholi, once we say we have forgiven one another, it is okay. We did bending of spears with West Nile. You know what happened. The way some of the Idi Amin soldiers really killed our people. It was very bad. Wafula Ogutu was a student at Teso College, Aloet. He said the Acholi and Lango soldiers who were killed, their bodies were dumped at the water source where the taps that are in Teso College got their water from. He told me himself that they would open the tap and you see blood. It was so painful. That is why some of our sons, when they came from Tanzania, they first forgot the way home. They first went to West Nile to revenge. But they were killing innocent people, women, babies. Eventually, our elders said, no, let's go to West Nile and do the bending of spears, Gomotong. They did it, and we are at peace. Even this Apa thing, we have already drafted an instrument under the Attorney General's chambers. The Chief Justice was consulted, and the names of members of the Commission of Inquiry are already there. I believe the President will sign that instrument soon. And then everybody who has an issue against anybody, those who are cutting trees for business, those who are grabbing land in Apa, the Commission of Inquiry will come up with their reports. You know, the truth moves slowly, but it overtakes lies. So I want to assure our people in Apa, there will be justice. Sometimes justice is slow to come, but it is sure. It will be there. See, even in the Bible, they say Satan will be arrested, and we wonder why he's not arrested now. Then they say they will imprison him for 1,000 years. But he's busy terrorizing people. So even those who are terrorizing people in Apa, their day will come and there will be justice. So we hope on the 22nd, the big people from government will have the opportunity to assure people that the government can protect the weak, not just the strong. That the government can protect the poor, not just the rich. That the government can protect all Ugandans, no matter where they come from. That is more important than even the PDM money, because people can work. I don't know how much 100 million can do in a parish, but if the government can guarantee that, you know what, your land will not be taken, you can feed your family, that is good enough. Those are the many reasons why we shall have this homecoming and Thanksgiving.